I'm Rachel Morgan, and I used to think I had it all: a loving husband, a booming tech startup we built from scratch, and a beautiful home in Palo Alto. I met David at a dusty little used bookstore in downtown Seattle. He was charming, articulate, and completely broke. At the time, I was running a modest but promising tech startup while he blogged about tech trends on an old, barely functioning laptop. I didn't realize then I was just a stepping stone. We dated for 6 months before he proposed. Naively, I thought it was love. I poured $300,000 from my late mother's inheritance into his dream. 2 years later, the company took off. David hired a team, leased a Tesla, and moved us into a sleek, modern house. But then, he started changing. He told me I should just focus on being a wife and let him handle the finances. That's when the little things started showing up: unfamiliar strands of hair on our pillow, a strange perfume scent on his clothes, lipstick on his collar. When I confronted him, he called me paranoid, insecure. Slowly, I became invisible in my own home. At our housewarming party, he invited friends without telling me. I spent all day preparing, dressed in my best, only to overhear him telling his buddies and his new assistant, "She's outdated, still learning to stay in her lane." When I tripped carrying a tray, he didn't help. He shoved me harder, laughing, "She talks too much. Now you see what I put up with." I got up from the floor, body aching, but what broke was deeper. It wasn't just the fall. It was the betrayal from the man I had loved for 5 years. That night, I made a decision. I would make him pay, not with drama, but with silence, legality, and precision. I opened our safe and went through the paperwork. The house was in my name. I was a co-founder of the company. The car, leased through company funds. David was living off borrowed power, my power. The next morning, he didn't apologize. Instead, he blamed me for embarrassing him. I smiled and said, "David, you haven't seen anything yet." I called the bank, froze our joint accounts, and revoked his signing authority. By noon, his card was declined at lunch. By 3 p.m., the car was towed, company property. That night, I changed the locks and security codes. He came home past midnight, banging on the door, yelling, "Open up, you stupid bitch." I stood behind the curtains, smiling. I wasn't just locking the door. I was locking that entire chapter of my life. The next day, I walked into our downtown San Francisco office. I called a staff meeting and announced David was being suspended for financial misconduct. I appointed Uncle Joe as interim operations manager. David blew up my phone with threats. "You're destroying me. I made you." I laughed. He made nothing. I was the builder. He just basked in my light. David tried to fight back. He made a weepy YouTube video claiming I stole everything. But I had the receipts, contracts, texts, invoices. A month later, we went to court. I presented clear documentation showing I owned the house, the company, and the investment accounts.
I didn't read that contract.
That's not the court's fault.
I won everything. David crumbled. He tried to break into my home at 2 a.m. wearing a GoPro to live stream it and got arrested. The footage went viral. He became a meme. I posted one line: "The truth doesn't need a script. Live in the light." Now I sit in my garden sipping wine, wrapped in peace. As for David, wherever he is, I hope he's learning what it means to be a man.